Okay, we are live streaming right now. Okay. Can we just post this on Twitter here too? Okay. Hello, hey guys, how are you guys? Okay, 1 second. Okay, we are almost all set here. Hi, how is everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a great day today. Okay. Okay. Everything's good here. Okay. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a great day. Thank you, Eddie, for the super chat. Thanks, man. I'm good, Marco. How are you, man? Hey, Marcus. Pro, when can I know if I was voted into North Yankton? I am PSN. Feel the heat yet? I will. I'll ask my friends today, because our group chat we just usually take a vote on, you know, who can join the group chats. I know you've been playing with me for some time, so I'll just ask the rest of my friends. Thank you, Brandon, for the super chat. I'm doing good, Raymond. How are you? Can somebody here help me with just one crate mission, and then after that I'll help everyone with what they need help with? Okay. Okay, let's do this one here. Yeah, I'm over $1 billion on GT Online, but I'm not really, you know, grinding that much. I'm instead actually filling up the hangars just so I can make a more detailed video on this. Let me try this here. Have I seen the Equalizer 3 trailer? Yes, I have, and I want to play the... I want to watch the Equalizer 3 when it comes out. I've been good. How are you, man? Okay, top 3 gunslingers in Red Dead Redemption. In the first game, have to be, Landon Ricketts, John, and Jack. Been a while since I last sent a super chat. Well, thank you, Victor. Thanks, man. And hey, Pro, when I try to make a new GTA Online character, I always spawn in with a stone hatchet, even though I didn't do any of the bounty hunt missions. Huh. Do you still have the bounty hunt? Does the bounty hunt mission still pop up for you, though? Thank you, Pro, Dan, and Victor. Yeah, I did enjoy, the summer. Yes, I'm gonna 100% Red Dead Redemption. Hang on, let me use the RC vehicle. Oh, there it is. No, I haven't actually been in the casino in some time. Why am I up here? Okay. No, I haven't spun the casino in some time. Can you help me with the casino heist? I could at the end of the stream. Hey, Pro, could you give us a hint of the Mr. K video? Thank you, Matthew. It's coming out in a few days. Mr. K was actually based on a real-life person. A lot of people don't know that. The guy's name in real life was Murat Kurnash. He was born in Germany to Turkish parents, and he was actually kidnapped by the U.S. government in 2001, who actually thought that he had links to terrorists when he didn't, and he actually did end up getting tortured. And that's who Mr. K was actually based on. But I'm going to be doing a video talking about it when I do the Mr. K lore video. Thank you, Matthew. A lot of people don't know that the U.S. government still does torture. It still happens in Guantanamo Bay. I saw you reply to which game franchise the best, Red Dead Redemption or The Last of Us. Yeah, I said that you know, John or Arthur doesn't get killed by a random NPC's daughter, but that's should Guantanamo Bay be shut down or not? Just curious. It should be shut down because Guantanamo Bay violates the 8th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which is against cruel and unusual punishment. Thank you, HYS49. Hey, Pro, love your content. Question, how do you personally feel about GTA Online going on for 10 years? Are you getting tired and want GTA 6 out already? Here's my position on GTA 6. I'm not really getting that tired, you know, of waiting, because I have plenty of other games that I want to play. So I really don't mind waiting, Black Crowns. Thank you for the super chat. But, you know, there's a lot of people that want the game rushed out. I'm saying you don't want the game to be rushed out. You don't. I played Kane and Lynch 2 for the first time a few days ago. Very dark and brutal game, but I loved it, especially the realistic style. Well, I still have one more Kane and Lynch 2 video to make. I haven't ever gotten around to it, but I want to do a video on the Kane and Lynch 2 multiplayer story, because there is a multiplayer story, and I never got around to it. But the reason I want to make, it's taken me some time to get that video out is because I want to do it with my friends, and, you know, everyone's schedule is always so messed up. We can't ever get everyone on at the same time. I will try to have it out in September, Gunner. Out of the way. Hero coming. Is torture bad? Of course it is. The thing is, though, is that what a lot of people don't know is that torture is illegal under American law in the Constitution. The Constitution specifically forbids torture. It's the 8th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. It bans cruel and unusual punishment. Okay. It's been a while, Pro. I'm alright now, as I've recently been playing through Manhunt 2003. Not a horror guy, but it's a very intense, brutal game. Thank you, Mr. Waifu, and I hope you're alright, man. I'm gonna do Manhunt on the channel one day, but if I do Manhunt, I'm telling you guys, though, that if I do Manhunt, it's gonna get demonetized, like the whole playthrough. I guarantee we'll get demonetized. Opinion on the three cousins of World War II. You mean Kaiser Wilhelm, George, and Nicholas? Because they were all, you know, Russia, German, and British monarchs. They were all related to each other. Well, they were all power-hungry. They were, you know, all the monarchs in World War I were pretty much bad people. I didn't realize so much music was added to GTA 5 over 10 years. I bet on Rockstar removing songs after the release of GTA 6. You know, speaking of which, Rockstar might actually remove music this September. because it's going to be 10 years since the game came out, and 10 years after GTA 4 was 10 years old, they removed music from the game because they didn't want to renew the licenses, so there's actually a chance they could actually remove music in this game. Yeah, that actually could happen. I just realized that. Yeah, Manhunt is a pretty crazy game. In a Kane and Lynch 2 multiplayer, everyone is corrupt. That's why, and that's the thing is, you know, what I'm gonna say is pretty controversial here, but that's why I've always liked Kane and Lynch's multiplayer better than Payday, because both of the games are heist co-op multiplayer games. But the reason I like the heist better in Kane and Lynch is because in Kane and Lynch, you don't know what's gonna happen. You have no idea what's going to happen during the heist every time. Somebody could betray you, nobody could betray you, could all work together, it could go bad, it can go good. Like, when you're playing Payday, your teammates can't betray you in Payday. And that's what adds the suspense to Kane and Lynch. It's what I've always liked about the style in Kane and Lynch. I know Kane and Lynch isn't as detailed as Payday, I know it doesn't have as much weapons, and the levels aren't as detailed, but it's just that people can betray you, which makes it just so unique in that multiplayer. Yes, I do eventually want to make like a Sniper Elite, there's a Sniper Elite lore video that I eventually want to make on the real-life operation to kill Hitler, because there was a real-life sniper plan to kill Hitler, and it's actually what the mission is in. The mission where you kill Hitler in Sniper Elite 5, a lot of people don't know that was a real-life operation. That was a real-life and Hitler was actually going to be at that location, where you kill him in the game. So it was actually it was a real-life operation that was called off. Just send me an invite to your MCs. Does anybody need help with anything? Send me an invite. Yes, I know about that, April. Would you make your own Red Dead Redemption or GTA, and what would it be like? I'll tell you this. I would, if I was making my own, you know, open world game, I would set, the location would be Chicago. So it'll be in Chicago, and it will be set in the 1920s. And it would be during the time of Prohibition. That's what it would be. So it would be like different mafias fighting over turf, selling alcohol illegally. Okay, where is your business? Let's see, where's the business? Okay, he's up there, okay. How's your health, life, and day going, professional? Hope it's marvelous. It's going good. I'm gonna go to the gym later today after after the stream. Are you against cannabis? I feel like my position on cannabis is I'm neutral. I'm just right there in the middle. My position on it is it just should be up to the people. Whatever the people decide. If the people don't want it legal, I'll be fine with that. If people want it legal, I'll be fine with that too. That's just more my position on it. There's good and bad things about it. That's the thing. People act like it's only good if you legalize it, but there's also bad things that come with that. Have you ever watched Pesky Blinders? I know the show that you're talking about. It's like a show that takes place after World War I in Britain. It's about the British Mafia, right? That's the show that you're talking about? I know the show, but I've never seen it. Thoughts on the new president? Oh, I don't talk politics on this channel. Oh, Pesky? Okay. Peaky Blinders? Oh, okay. Okay. Why is GTA Online so toxic? I think there's two reasons that the game is toxic. Well, I wouldn't say, I would say that, well, people are telling me it's pesky, not peaky now, but, or I'm getting it mixed up. But look, the reason that games like GT Online, the reason that games like this can get very toxic. Now, GT Online, I would not say that GT Online is a toxic game, because there's a lot of, like, really nice people. I mean, look at that. We got a full lobby of just friends here. It is a private session. We got, like, 20 people here together. We're all chill, not doing anything to anybody. So there's plenty of friendly people on, there's plenty of friendly people on GT Online. But the reason that maybe I'll do a video talking about this in the future on why GT Online can get really toxic at times. But the reason that GT Online gets really toxic, in my opinion, there's two reasons for that. The first reason for that is that GT Online is a very fast-paced game. Whenever you have really fast-paced games, whenever you have stuff like that, you typically have really toxic people. Like, can you name me one fast-paced game that doesn't have massive toxic communities? Because I can't really think of it. Think of, for example, look at Rainbow Six Siege. Very fast-paced game, very toxic community. You look at, Call of Duty. Very fast-paced game, very toxic community. And so it's just, whenever there's a fast-paced game, there's a lot of really toxic people. Why is there so many, toxic people in fast-paced games? For Honor? Yeah, For Honor I would say too. The reason that there's so many toxic people in fast-paced games is because people don't have patience. That's why. People just want to rush in, they want to kill everything, and so you're not really going to have patient people on that, and because of that, you're going to have some pretty unstable people that are going to be playing these games. That's why a lot of times when you play fast-paced games, you have, like, really rude and nasty people. That's why slower-paced games like Red Dead Redemption, for example, there are toxic people on Red Dead, but the reason that Red Dead has lots, less toxic people is because the game is slower-paced. It requires a lot more work, and, and because of that, people have more patience on that game, and there aren't as many, toxic people in that regard. The second reason that GT Online has so many toxic people, and this is actually the main reason, is the age of the gamers, the average age of the GT Online player. Look, if you guys compare the average age of the Red Dead Online player and the average age of the GT Online player, I guarantee you the average Red Dead Online player is a few years older than the average GTA player. I guarantee you it. It's just that GT Online has so many kids that are playing it. I'm not saying that every kid is toxic. I'm not saying that at all. But when you have, like, a lot of kids playing these games, a lot of kids are very unstable, they're immature, and so they're gonna, they're gonna do ridiculous things. And so the griefers, oftentimes, the griefers that, blow up your cargo and stuff like that, most of the time those are kids or teenagers, most of the time. I have very rarely seen griefers that are actually adults. Like, I have, at most, I have encountered griefers that are, like, 18, 19, 20 years old on GT Online. But I've never encountered, like, griefers that are, like, 30 years old or 40 years old. That's never happens. It's almost always, like, the griefers are almost, like, young kids and, like, teenagers. And so, they're not fully matured, and so they think stuff like this is funny, and they think stuff like this is okay to do. That's pretty much what it's, that's pretty much what it is.
Trouble, and you need my help. Okay.
I mean, like, whenever, like, anybody play, like, the old Call of Duty games, like, even Modern Warfare 2, like, whenever you go into, like, the Modern Warfare 2 2009, whenever you go into, like, those, those old Call of Duty games, and you go into those lobbies, you'll hear some, like, kids dropping F-bombs in the lobby, like, constantly, and you're wondering, where do these kids learn these words, and stuff like that. But that's, like, yeah, that's what I would say, is that, like, a lot of the thing about this is, I'll tell you guys something, GTA Online is older than some of the people that grief on the game. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Manhunt turns 20 this 18th of November. Any possibilities of playing the series on a separate channel or have them enlisted? I'll play Manhunt on this channel. There's no need to make another channel. I'll play Manhunt on this channel. Thank you, Victor, for the super chat. But yeah, like, and here's the thing about this is, when I was a kid, did I play Grand Theft Auto games when I was a kid? Yeah, I played Vice City. I played those games. But the thing about this is, even when I played these games, I wasn't really that toxic. I would say I was a little bit more immature back then when I was a kid and I was playing, games like that. But I wasn't, like, toxic towards other people. Like, if somebody cursed at me, I would curse right back at them. But I didn't throw around racial slurs or, just, screaming, my lungs out at people. But yet, you have kids these days that they will just, on these games, they will just freak out at people, scream, most offensive words, just yell at people constantly. And I'm, like, wondering, like, where these kids, like, learn a lot of these words and stuff like that. But that's, could DMZ be top 3 toxic people? Yeah, DMZ can get really toxic. very, 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 very toxic. That's what DMZ definitely can get really toxic on Call of Duty. I would agree with that. Yeah. You know what game I used to play when I was a kid? When I was a teenager. Do you guys know what game I used to play online all the time? SOCOM. That's what I would play. The game that I'm actually playing right now, those games online. I actually played those games when I was a kid. I played those games all the time on the PS2 online. And I remember that my friend had to show me how to play SOCOM online because I didn't know how to do it, and he would bring over the Ethernet cable, and he would hook it into the router, and we were able to play SOCOM online. But that sucks because I couldn't figure out that you needed a cable to play SOCOM online on the PS2. But that was we played SOCOM online on the PS2.
Cryptocurrency.
These kids playing the wrong game. You know, I don't think there's anything really wrong with, like, you know, with if a teenager or kid like wants to play these games and stuff like that, and their parents are okay with it. I don't really see personally a problem with them playing video games like this. Just as long as their parents teach them the difference between a video game and, you know, and real life, because, like, you know, I played Vice City when I was like 8 years old. And so, you know, my parents were fine with that. My parents understood that I knew the difference between, like, a game and real life. So I don't really necessarily have a problem with kids, like, you know, playing, you know, games like this. But I would just ask that, like, you know, a lot of times these kids should just be more mature. That's just what I'll say about that. Hey, Pro, how are you? We just arrived at Germany for vacation, and we might visit Poland since it's close. Which place or city might you recommend us to visit? In Poland, I would say, why don't you visit Krakow in Poland? Yeah. Krakow. That's a city in the western part. Yeah, I would say that would be a nice city. There's some castles that you can visit there. Warsaw is a really big place too. Hey, Pro, jak się masz? I'm good. How are you, man? What if everybody's account in progress was deleted? Do I think people would quit for good, or were willing to start grind again? Most people would quit if their characters were deleted. Are PS4s at pawn shops worth it? Yeah, I would say so. You can get a good deal at a pawn shop, and the thing about this is most pawn shops will negotiate with you. A lot of people don't know that. When they go into a pawn shop, they just pay whatever the price is. But just tell. If you're going into a pawn shop and you want to buy something, regardless of whether it's a PlayStation or not, just say, if you're buying, like, if somebody's, like, you know, selling, like, a PlayStation 4 or something like that for $200, like, you could say, I'll give you $150 for that, you know, something like that, and you start, like, negotiating, just as an example. So there are, like, you know, you can negotiate in pawn shops. I've done it before. You know, that's how I got my Xbox One. Just obviously make sure that the console that you buy from a pawn shop is in good condition. Just make sure that you don't buy. Make sure the disc is working. That's what I would say. Is make sure the disc is working. Just have the guy at the pawn shop hook it up for you, and just make sure that he just, you know, show it. Ask him to show you that the disc can play in it. That's it. And what you can do is you can ask for a deal. You know, if you see a few PlayStation games. You know, see a few PlayStation games, and you see maybe like a controller or something like that. Why don't you tell the guy at the pawn shop, like, hey, I'll buy your PlayStation 4, and I want to buy these games also on this controller. Is there like a deal that you can do for me? And that's why buying at pawn shops sometimes is better than buying at actual, major retail stores, because you can actually get good deals. So that's what I did at the pawn shop that I went to. That's how I got my Xbox One. My Xbox One. I did not pay that much money for the Xbox One. I'm trying to remember what I paid for the Xbox One. I paid, I think it was like 170, 160 somewhere. I bought an Xbox One. I don't remember how many gigabytes mine has, but I got an Xbox Elite Series controller with that. So I said, you know, I'll buy the Xbox and I'll buy the Elite Series controller. You know, can you give me a deal? And he gave me like 50 or 60 bucks off. So that's, so you can negotiate when you go in these stores. 100 what bullet? You hear what happened to Yevgeny Prigozhin? Yes, I have. Yeah. It's obvious the Russian government had something to do with it. Pro speaking facts, if you buy bulk, you'll get better prices. Yeah. So yeah, you know, if you have a pawn shop in your area, you know, check it out. You know, pawn shops oftentimes have some pretty cool stuff, electronics, jewelry, you know, stuff that you can buy, you know, much better prices than like you could buy in like a retail store. A lot of people, for some reason, think that everything that's in a pawn shop is stolen, but that's not true. Pawn shops have to make a record of every single item that they sell. So whenever pawn shops buy something, they make a record of that. They have a database. They have to keep a database of everything. And so whenever the police are looking for something, you know, they go to a pawn shop and they say, hey, did you buy any of this item? It was stolen. And that's how police oftentimes retrieve, like, you know, stolen stuff. But yeah, pawn shops, you know, they're not stores that have, like, you know, stolen stuff in them typically, and you can find a lot of good deals in them. Bro, you missed my super chat? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me take a look. Let's see here. The director Manhunt is worse than Victor Dimitri. I'll have to take a look at that. I'll have to play the Manhunt games one day. Cheeseburger or hamburger? Probably cheeseburger. Yeah. How much money do I have in GTA Online right now? $1,259,498,871. What do you like on your pizza? Honestly, I will eat pizza with really anything on it, just as long as it's not something sweet. As long as it's not something like, you know, something sweet like pineapple or something like that. I'll eat, you know, anything on pizza. I'll eat anchovies, I'll eat pepperoni, I'll eat beef, chicken. So really, I'll eat anything on pizza. Vegetables, just it can't be something sweet. But other than that, I'll eat anything on pizza, really. What are your thoughts on modded GTA 5 accounts? What I will say is that, you know, about modders is, you know, modders usually, you know, usually there's three types of modders usually, when it comes to multiplayer modders. There's the first kind of modder is the modder who, you know, modded back on PS3 and, you know, got up to level 8,000 and got, like, you know, $1 trillion or something like that, and then they just transferred over. There's a second type of modder that, you know, transferred over to, you know, from PS3, and just all they do is just kill players over and over again, just grief constantly. And then there's a third type of modder is basically like the modder who actually spawns stuff in, like, GTA Online. And those modders, I would say about them is those modders can either be, like, really toxic or sometimes cool. Because there are, you know, sometimes modders in, like, you know, GTA games that will spawn, like, funny things and stuff like that. And they're, you know, they're not toxic people. But then there's other modders that will, like, they'll, like, chase you around the map. They'll constantly kill you. You know, the thing about this is when GTA Online first came out on PC, I did try it. Like, that was, like, you know, what, 2015? And, like, the first week that I played it, I remember there was some guy that would set me on fire. And, like, my character would just keep dying from fire every single time. And, like, even if I ran in the water, I would still die from fire. And even when I would run in my apartment, I would still die from fire. And that's how ridiculous it got. And I was like, this is stupid. And that's, like, yeah. But I'll tell you something, I've encountered a lot of modders on PS3 on GTA 4. There's PS3 GTA 4 modders. And the PS3 GTA 4 modders are mostly, nice people. There was one that was, like, really toxic, though. There was one guy, I remember, when I did, like, the GTA 4, GTA 4 anniversary, like, stream, what happened was there was this guy who would just keep joining my free mode sessions, and he would keep crashing my game. He would start up some mod, which would freeze my game. And so I would just have to keep restarting my game every time, and I had to restart, like, 10 or so times when that stream was getting annoying. There was another guy, I remember, though, that, he would spawn random cars for us to drive around in, and he would spawn, like, different character modes. Like, he would run around as Dimitri, he would play as Pegorino and stuff like that, and that was kind of funny. But the other modder was getting, like, really annoying.
Oh my god! Oh, shit!
The reason for not sending supers for a while was that I've spent my 3,500 on getting cosmetic, Veners, and I recovered most of my money back. Oh, well, thank you, Victor, for the super chat. And Victor, you don't have to, explain to me why you didn't super chat. I do appreciate the super chat, but only super chat me if you think that I, truly deserve it. But I do appreciate it, man. But don't feel like you have to give me super chats. That's what I'll say about it. But I do appreciate it. Any advice for starting university tomorrow? It's been 3 years since I went to school, and I'm going back to get my information technology degree. Well, let me ask you something, Eddie. And Eddie, you don't have to super chat me again. I'll look for your comment. But just tell me, is this your first time going to college? Are you doing, like, the regular courses that you have to do in college, or are you just going straight to your degree? Can you explain that to me? Because I give you advice depending on, how you're starting it exactly. Hey, Pro, with the death of Prigozhin, do you think things are likely to change in the battlefield? To an extent. There might be another, uprising in Wagner, and they might go after Putin. Because the thing about this is the rest of Wagner know 100% that Putin did it. There's no doubt in their mind that it was Putin or it was somebody in the Russian government that did that. Because Putin has said several times that he does not, tolerate betrayal. So there's no doubt in my mind that he did that. But it just shows you that, it just shows you the ego that Putin has. That, Putin is such a crazy guy that he's even gonna kill this guy, even if it means starting, like, a war for, like, a war for, like, a mercenary group. So, that's already tried to do that before. So that's all I'll say about him, is that, he's gonna, kill anybody that goes against him. They're all horrible people, Prigozhin and Putin. But it's just, yeah, I just think that, he has a massive ego, and so he couldn't let that go that that guy tried to do a coup against him. Let me see here. Super chat for a super pat also. Thank you for sponsoring my channel for 10 months. Thank you, Melon. Let me see, Eddie posted. I'm going straight for my degree and I'm taking core classes. No, this isn't my first time. Oh, well, let me see here, start, here. Well, if you're going for just core classes, it's gonna be a bit harder, Eddie. But if you're like, the first year or two of college is basically like high school. But if you're not doing those classes, then yeah, oh, get on a motorcycle. What am I doing? I mean, get on one here. Putin is so reckless, he's gonna incite a civil war before before the even war comes close to an end. Horrific times. Well, the thing about that is that Pro, I joined your Patreon. Oh, you did? What's your name opened on there? But that's, I will say that he doesn't, he's not going to stop. He's just gonna keep going, because this is one thing that, not trying to comment too much on the current events, but one thing that I will say is that what a lot of people don't understand about Russia, for example, is that Russia historically has had really brutal and authoritarian leaders. They've just had that throughout their history. Russia has never really had a compassionate, nice leader in their history. Even Gorbachev, who a lot of people consider him the most compassionate, Russian leader, even he was brutal. He invaded the Baltic countries, so when there was protests. So there's, so Russia has never had, like, a really kind leader throughout its history from the Russian Empire to the Soviet Union to the Russian Federation today. And so a lot of Russians are just used to having, like, you know, a brutal, like, you know, authoritarian leader like that. And for somebody like Putin, you know, when he went into the war into Ukraine, he was probably expecting this to be like another Crimea. He was expecting this to be like, you know, over probably even a month or two. You know, he did not expect this to drag on for this long. But what he underestimated is he underestimated how much people in Ukraine just really hate him. And basically he thought that this was going to be an easy war, but instead it turned into a Vietnam for him. That's pretty much what it has become. And Putin, in Putin's eyes, he cannot pull out of the war. The reason that he cannot pull out of the war is because if Putin pulls out of the war, he's going to get killed. If he does, he's going to get overthrown. Because the Russian nationalists will overthrow him because they will see him as being weak for pulling out. And so he's going to keep fighting to the last man in Ukraine because he knows if he pulls out, he's going to get overthrown. And so he's just going to keep sacrificing human life just to make sure that his regime keeps going. That's what it is about it. Okay, let's go here. Hey Patrick, which country is the richest citizens? The richest people? I would say that countries like the United Arab Emirates, Monaco, Liechtenstein, if I'm pronouncing that country and its name correctly, have a lot of really rich people. Like, there's the most amount of rich people in them. Singapore too, I would say. Thank you, Jack, for that super chat. Here, Pat, here's a super chat. Become a super Pat and get a super chat. Thank you, Melon. Thanks, man. Is Russia losing the war? I don't know. What I will say, you know, and I don't really want to be talking too much about I don't want to be talking too much about the current events. But what I will say about this is, I'm no fan of Putin. I hate Putin. But what I will say is, don't underestimate Russia in a war. That's what I will say. Because what I've noticed is a lot of the media, they're underestimating Russia. They think that Russia is going to lose 100%. You don't know that. Because what has happened in history is, whenever Russia has fought a war in its history, the first or second year of that war, what happens is Russia's getting destroyed. Whenever Russia fights a war, usually at the beginning of a war, they get destroyed. They're suffering massive casualties. And then what ends up happening is the second or third year of that war, they end up coming back. And they just keep throwing wave and wave at the people that they're fighting against. And they cannot, and the person they're fighting against can't handle it until they get completely overrun. This has happened, like, you know, 5 or 6 times in Russian history. The Swedish Empire invaded Russia, and when the Swedish Empire invaded Russia, that was Peter the Great versus the Swedish king. I forget the Swedish king's name, but when the Swedish invaded Russia, they were destroying the Russians. The Russians were getting completely obliterated. But then what ended up happening is, when the war progressed more on, Peter the Great just kept throwing wave after wave against the Swedish. The Swedish did not have the same manpower that the Russians did, and the Swedish got completely overrun. And the same thing happened to the French when the French invaded Russia during the Napoleonic Wars. The French were destroying the Russians. Like, Napoleon even took Moscow and got Borodino. Like, Napoleon was just completely destroying the Russian army. But then the cold kicked in, and the French just got completely surrounded, and the Russians just kept throwing waves after waves at them. And then the same exact thing happened in the Winter War. In the Winter War, that time, Russia was invading Finland. And when Russia invaded Finland, the first 3 months of that war, Russia was getting completely destroyed. They got completely obliterated. They were getting just annihilated by the Finns. But then what ended up happening is the Russians then came back. They got massive waves. They just threw it at the Finns. They overran the Finns. The Finns couldn't handle it anymore. The Finns signed a peace treaty with the Russians, and they gave up, you know, huge portions of their land. And so the only time that Russia has lost a major war on its soil, the only time, is World War I. World War I, and World War II is another example. You know, the first and second year of the war, you know, the Germans were just destroying the Russians. The Russians were taking massive casualties, and then, you know, and then they came back, and they kept throwing waves and waves at the Germans. The Russian army does not care about human life. They will just keep throwing waves and waves at people to overrun them. That's been their tactic for, you know, for hundreds of years. And so that's, the World War I is the only time that the Russians have lost a war on their soil, was World War I, really. That was a major war that they lost. They had a civil war, and they signed a treaty with the Central Powers, and they lost that. The Eastern Front, the Russians lost. in World War I. But that's basically my point there is, you know, I'm not a defender of Russia. I can't stand Putin. I can't stand the Russian government. But the point that I'm making is that people underestimate how strong the Russian army is. And they're thinking that, you know, that Russia is going to get completely obliterated and they're going to lose. But, you know, you don't know that fully. I hope that Ukraine does win. But like I'm saying is that you can't underestimate your enemy in a war, and I think a lot of people are making that mistake if they're underestimating how strong the Russian army actually is. That's just the point that I'm making. Let me see here. I think the media is making a massive mistake by underestimating the Russian military too. Let me see here. Hey Pro, what is your favorite mission in GTA 4 and why? Mine is 3-leaf clover because it's pretty interesting. I would agree with you, 3-leaf clover, the bank robbery, because you're going through the bank, you know, you're fighting through the streets, the subways. I would agree with you, yes, 3-leaf clover. Another mission that I really liked in GTA 4 is I like the mission when you went to go to the hotel when you were killing Isaac. That one I really liked too. Why do I guess that was probably an accident there. Why do you hate, why do I hate Ada Beast so much? I don't hate anyone. If you're talking about that, if you're talking about that YouTuber, the YouTuber who does all the PvP stuff, he's the one who's toxic, not me. You know, I'm not starting crap with him. I'm not uploading videos, you know, talking about him. He's the one who actually started making videos about me, just attacking me, insulting me, making fun of me. So if anything, I never made a video talking about him. He's the one who starts crap, honestly. So that's what I'll say about it. Is if he's saying that I hate him, he's an idiot. Because I haven't said even one thing about him until this point now. So that's, thank you, Shot, for the super chat. Let's see here. The Swedish king was Gustav. Oh, okay. What's the next game after SOCOM? I'm probably gonna do either Fight Night Champion or maybe I'll do it might be Fight Night Champion or Max Payne 2. Oh, I missed a lot of comments. I'm sorry, guys. What did I originally think of, The Last of Us? What did I think of The Last of Us multiplayer? Oh, The Last of Us multiplayer was actually pretty fun, Blinded Eagle. I actually liked it. But The Last of Us multiplayer has a lot of really annoying tryhards. Like, there's the tryhards can get really toxic in The Last of Us multiplayer. But other than that, it's a pretty fun multiplayer mode. Thank you, Xena, for the super chat. It's Kuwait or Qatar. Over 50% are millionaires. Yeah, so I missed Kuwait or Qatar, but that's what I'm saying is there are countries where, you know, huge amounts of people are millionaires. That guy keeps saying you hate him and it's pissing me off. The guy, look, I have not watched that guy's channel in years, the Ada Beast guy. Like, I haven't even watched one of his videos in, like, years. The only time I actually watched one of his videos is that video that he made fun of me. That was the only video I've actually watched. So, like, the guy saying I hate him, he's an idiot. Like, I haven't even said, where have I said one thing about him on my channel? What he basically is, he has a drama cloud over him. That's pretty much, he's just looking for drama. That's all he's doing. He's stupid. He's just trying to start crap. See here. The thing about the first and second year is that they were invaded, not the other way around. So for Russia to invade, it could be different. But I get that, Blue Speeder, but what I said is I also compared Finland during the Winter War. Finland during the Winter War, the Russians were getting destroyed. But they, yeah. The Russians were getting destroyed in, the Russians were getting destroyed in the Winter War, but then the Finns came back. You can't handle criticism? What do you mean I can't handle criticism? I didn't even say anything about the guy. People are telling me the guy's talking about me. Okay, delivered here. No, there was apparently some YouTuber that was like, you know, that was making videos saying that I hate him and some, it's just dumb. You couldn't handle that comment? No, I can very much handle the comment. I'm just saying, like, I don't respond to these people, I don't make videos talking about these people, but that's what I say is that, you know, somebody's making repeated videos that I hate them, they're just looking for drama. That's what I'm saying about it. Will I make a video on the GTA 6 hacker's verdict? You can see the article I sent you to make the video. We also don't know when he'll get sentenced. I'll probably look into that. Yes, Blinded Eagle. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I guess I'm not gonna reply to it anymore because it's just a waste of time, honestly. It's Hey, Pro, you apologize too often, bro. It's bad that for your mental health. People say you do it for sympathy, but I don't believe that. Well, the reason that I apologize a lot of times in my videos is because I don't want, you know, I don't want people getting pissed off at me, and it's just, I don't want to disappoint anyone. That's why I apologize a lot of times in my videos. Like, for example, when I'm telling people that I'm gonna have a lore video out, but the lore video gets delayed, you know, I make a, you know, post apologizing for the delay in the video, because I don't want to disappoint somebody that the video wasn't out on the day that I said it was gonna be out originally. So that's, No, I don't hate anyone, dude. It's just, oh my god, it's just... Okay. Do you think Putin will be worse than Stalin? You know, I don't want to... You know, I don't want to make, you know, comparisons right now. Thank you, Fact Speaker, for the, Thank you, Fact Speaker, for the super chat. When's the next channel update? It'll be tonight. Okay, let's get over to that, boat. I will, probably sometime in September I'll make that, Miles. Okay, April, is everything okay, man? Have I ever played any House of the Dead games? I played the arcade games. Thank you, Eddie. Hey, Pro. Well, no. Thank you, Xena, for the super chat. But I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say that I destroyed Dark Viper AU in GTA GeoGuessr. We just had a fun match. That's what it was. I never looked at it as me destroying him. It was just having a fun match. What's my favorite radio station in GTA San Andreas? It will be Radio Los Santos and Radio X. I like a lot of the rock songs that are in Radio X, and Radio Los Santos is like some of the best rap music that I've heard. So that's yeah, I'll say those two stations. By the way, since you can preload Spider-Man 2, I'm gonna host a giveaway towards the end of September, until, like, October 8th. Also, that was, what was that Twisted Metal, a video you sent me? Oh, that's from the TV show. I gotta watch the Twisted Metal TV show when I get the chance, but... Thank you, Blinded Eagle. What car do I drive in real life? I have a 2013 BMW 328i sedan. When I say BMW, a lot of times people think that it's fancy, but this is like, it was, you know, I would say a little bit more of an expensive car, but this is, it's just 4-door sedan. This isn't like some crazy, car or anything like that. I've had it for, since 2017, so about, 8 years now. No, I wouldn't drive something like a Ferrari. I think that would be stupid, personally. Do you think GTA 5 is in a good place currently? With the recent nerfs and the Raiju being present, what would Rockstar need to do to improve it further? Honestly, what they could do is they could just completely remove the, they could completely remove the orbital cannon and the oppressor Mark II, but they're not going to do that. That's what I would do, honestly. Thank you, Sachi, Bombastic. Thank you for the super chat. Rue, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, the vice president of Rockstar, Michael Unsworth, left. Do you think it will affect the GTA 6 storyline? All these, like, Rockstar developers, they were, like, in charge of the older games, are just leaving now. It's definitely not a good thing. Thank you, Rue, for the, super chat. I'm sorry that your family's going through that, Miles. I hope everything works out in your country. Will I play GTA London? I'll play the old GTA games one day. Oh, I'm sorry, Honor. I missed your comment, your super chat. I'm sorry. Thank you, Tron Drifter and Xena. Thank you, Honor. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? In 5 years, in 5 years, I don't know. I see myself as still doing YouTube in 5 years potentially, and I see myself as having more rental properties because I own a rental property, and I want to get more rental properties in the future. Waiting for them to drop these off here. Yeah, that's because of the Blackwater heist, God's Child. One day I will donate 500 Pro. You don't have to. You don't have to, man, but I appreciate it. Hey, Pro, can I join you? Sure, anybody can join me. Yes, I can speak Polish. Jak się masz? Ja rozumiem i gadam po polsku. Yes, I can speak Polish. What is your favorite Twisted Metal and why? I would say probably like Twisted Metal 3 the most, because I like the Rob Zombie soundtrack to a lot of those games. Why have I never played the original Red Dead? I have played the original Red Dead. I played it when it came out. I just haven't played it on the channel before, but I played it when it came out. Do you regret getting your degree? No. You know, it was some extra education that I got, but... Okay.
Send me that pic you took yesterday. Yep.
Task Force 141 went against Menendez, and people like Woods and Mason were against Macra. Who do you think would do a better job? I would say Task Force 141. The reason for that is because Woods should not have gone after Menendez. Because the mental state that Woods was in, he was not in a mentally fit state to go after Menendez. When you think about it. Because Woods was tortured, and so he just wasn't ready to go after Menendez, and then unfortunately his sister died as a result of that. So I think that, you know, Task Force 141 would have done a much better job going after Menendez. No, I didn't cheat. I grinded for years, Lewis. What are you talking about? You're my favorite YouTuber. Thank you, Agent M. Oh, I missed the super chat? Let me see. I'm sorry if I did. Have I ever played Mirror's Edge? It's basically an action first-person parkour game on the PS3, and although it's fun, it's difficult. It has a sequel, too. Thank you, Blinded Eagle. Yes, I actually did play a little bit of Mirror's Edge. I played the demos when those came out, I remember. You know, running from buildings and jumping up. What do you dress up as today? Mercenary? This is my mercenary costume. But I never got into them, though. How did you start your rental business? Thank you, Shay, for the super chat. I started my rental business last year. Basically, there was a nice house that I found, and I really liked that house, and so I purchased that house, and I had used most of my life savings on that house. I still, you know, I wasn't completely broke. You know, I had, you know, enough money to still support myself, but I invested a huge ton into that house. And what happened is, I just didn't want to be, you know, I didn't want to be in debt to, like, you know, mortgage for years. That's, you know, why I had done that. And, one reason that I had purchased the house is I don't plan on living in that house, by the way, the house that I purchased. Because I'm perfectly fine with living in an apartment. I don't need that much space. The reason I purchased the house was to make money. It was a, you know, business. That's why I invested and I purchased it. But about the house is I purchased the house for two reasons. One, to make money from it as like a rental property, and two, it was a way to also protect my assets and protect my money. And what I mean by that is that generally the price of homes goes up over the years. It either stays the same or it goes up. You know, houses don't typically drop a lot in value over the years. Typically they go up. And so purchasing a house like that, it's a way for me to protect my money. Because if I kept a lot of my money in the bank, for example, that there's inflation, and the money's going to lose value. So your money's going to lose value over time. By purchasing a property, purchasing land, that my money is actually safe in that property, when you think about it. Okay, let's make this last drop here. Sure, Jonathan, let's hear it. What's your crazy landlord story? And, I treat my tenants very fairly, guys. Not a scumbag or unreasonable landlord. I'm very fair. You're very smart, Pearl. Thank you, man. What do you think about Bill Williamson's personality in Red Dead Redemption 1? The thing about Bill Williamson is I forgot. The one thing I forgot about Bill Williamson is I forgot that his gang was actually the one who mass murdered those people in that town. And I forgot how much of a scumbag Bill Williamson was. Like, I remember he wasn't the most intelligent guy, but I didn't think of him as like a, cold-blooded murderer, as it was in Red Dead Redemption 1, so I completely forgot about that Bill Williamson's gang was responsible for those atrocities. How did you make enough to buy a house? Saving a lot of money over time, but the thing about this is, a lot of the money that I invested into the house wasn't just money that I had made from my YouTube channel. It was also money that I had made in retail, because I'd worked in retail for 6 years, and I saved up a lot of cash in that time. And so, houses in the Midwest are very cheap compared to houses in New York. And so that's one of the ways I was able to pay for it, too. Which psychopath is most dangerously efficient just by themselves? Claude Speed is an indifferent psychopath. Vladimir Makarov is a warmonger psychopath. Just by themselves, Claude. Yeah, Claude, because Claude is very, those other guys like Makarov and Dmitri have people do things for them, most of the time. But, Dmitri doesn't do any of his dirty work himself. He has people do it for him. Makarov does some of his dirty work, but he oftentimes has people do it for him, too, where Claude will do everything on his own. Thank you, Lyndon. Do we ever plan to buy a rental property in New York? No. Taxes in New York are too high, and you look at what real estate costs in New York. It's ridiculous. It's no. Can you understand any Swedish or Arabic? I speak both. No, I can't, Miles. I did hear about that Agent M, and I hope he gets the max sentence. We want to hear a story. Well, Jonathan was going to tell a story. I just don't see Jonathan's comment yet. Do I speak Russian? No, my father does. Polish is really good, thank you. Jak się masz, Patrick? Jestem dobrze. Dziękuję. Only, what I will say is, I hope he faces the full penalty of the law, and it's just disgusting and horrible what he did. Can you do the grandpa voice from your scammer video? You mean the video where I was pissing off the scammer? Jonathan, did you ever post... Oh, I see Jonathan's comment now. Would I ever live in Poland? I would consider having a property in Poland, but never permanently living there, because I'm an American. My country is the U.S. Oh, okay, we can do that then, LX. Let me see here, can you do the grandpa, you mean the grandpa voice when I was pissing off the scammer? Okay, it's like, Meryl, I fought in Nam back in the day, and me and my friends, we stopped Kravchenko, and we protected Florida from communism. That's the grandpa voice that I did when I was pissing off the scammer. And I actually convinced the scammer that I was an old man when I was doing that voice. Like, the scammer actually thought I was an old man. And that was, yeah. For people that want to hear my grandpa voice, go back like a month on my channel. There's a month, go on my channel and just search scammers on my channel. If you just search scammers, there's a video where I was pissing off a scammer. I actually pissed off a scammer, and I was just trolling them. And, I was in a phone call with the scammer. And, Kickstarter Ravager Crucible, give it a look. Okay, I could see movie. I don't know what that is. I could look into that. And Jonathan posted his story. Hold on, Jonathan, I'll find your comment here. So basically, a few years back, my mom and I had a landlord that had tied a frog to our door so we would leave. I have no idea what his thought process was or that it was legal. I live in Trinidad. What? He tied a frog to your door so we would leave? What the hell? That's definitely illegal. That's you're harassing your you're harassing your tenants, but on top of that is, that frog could have like diseases that it could bring in too. So that's also like, endangering you. Why did he want you to leave the property? And that's you could definitely have him arrested for that. In the U.S., you definitely could probably have somebody arrested for that. What the hell? That's like... What GTA game is the most overrated in your opinion? Sorry to say, GTA 5, I would say. GTA 5 is probably the most overrated one. And that's not to say that GTA 5 isn't a good game. It is a good game, The GTA Online is like one of my favorite online games. But when we're talking about strictly the story, when I say GTA 5, I'm talking about strictly the story. The thing about this is I enjoyed GTA 4 story way better than GTA 5. Like, GTA 5 story felt rushed to me. Like, did you guys feel like GTA 5 story was rushed? I felt like it was kind of rushed at times. And it was just, I don't know, like, I did not enjoy GTA 5's story that much as, like, the other ones. It wasn't a bad story, but it wasn't, like, I think that, like, when people say that GTA 5 is, like, the best GTA game of all time, I don't know, I think GTA 4 is personally the best one. I recently had the idea that my OC, Jack, could be, Vietnamese American. Since his grandpa was in the war, he could have fell in love with one of the locals. Oh, that's for your novel, the book that you're writing. Yeah, that you could do a story like that. Thank you, DL Gaming. I actually talked to a Vietnamese guy. I talked to a Vietnamese guy once, and it was a Vietnamese guy that moved to America, and basically we were talking about we were also talking about the Vietnamese kids that were like, their fathers were American soldiers, and I asked him, like, did he know people in Vietnam that were like related to American soldiers, and he actually told me that he went to school with kids that were born to American fathers. And so according to what this guy told me, the kids, the Vietnamese kids that had American fathers were treated really badly in Vietnam. There's a lot of discrimination against them, and they were treated really, really badly. Does Edgar Ross have similarities to Tenpenny? Yeah, definitely. I could one day, Kenyon. Pro, what did you give to your father on Father's Day? Oh, I gave him a few $100. I gave him $400. I didn't, my dad, usually when I ask my dad what kind of gift he wants, he just prefers cash, so that's what I've always done. Let's see here. The fact that you've never told us a bad story about your relationship with your parents actually makes me jealous. My dad still hasn't apologized to me. I'm really sorry to hear that, Blind Eagle. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, this is the zombie bobber. This bike. But Jonathan, why did your landlord do that to you with the frog? What? Can you explain? I'm curious on that story. How would I run Rockstar games? Well, there'd have to be some serious changes in Rockstar. My super chat, you missed it? I'm really sorry, let me look. Oh, I missed a few. I'm really sorry, guys. If I ever miss a super chat, just let me know. Would GTA 6 have the same graphics as Red Dead Redemption 2? Yeah, I think that GTA 6 is going to run on the same engine as Red Dead Redemption 2. That's what I think. I think it will. Thank you, Nick, for the super chat. And thank you, Jack. I need money. Any tips? Life's so hard in the USA. What I will say is if I was trying to get cash together personally, what I would have done is I probably would have done like Uber Eats or DoorDash. That's probably what I would have done. And I should have done, honestly, I should have quit my retail job and just did Uber Eats or DoorDash years ago when I was like working in retail, because retail was honestly pissing me off. And that's a job that you can do on your own time. You know, you're not gonna make a lot of money from it, but it's just something you can start up, when you want, and you can end when you want. And so it's a good way to make some extra cash too. I didn't have time to do all the tier challenges. Have you ever worked a job delivering pizza? No, I haven't. Oh, you're a waiter. Oh, okay, Jack. I definitely think waiters should be making more money. You work at Walmart? No, I didn't work at Walmart. It was a different store, but it was, yeah, when I used to work in retail, it was not a good, not a good job. Do you know how to fix stick drift? Honestly, the best way to fix stick drift, I know you're not going to like me saying this, is to get a new controller. Because there are certain ways to fix stick drift, but most of the time to fix stick drift, you need to actually open up the controller, and it's very easy to destroy your controller. So it's like, I would say if you want to buy like a, if you want to spend a little bit more money, you could buy the DualSense Edge, which is what I have. The battery life isn't that great on it, but the thing about the DualSense Edge is you can swap out the sticks whenever you want. And that's what I did. When I purchased the DualSense Edge, after like, it was 7 months or so afterwards, it was like, it started getting stick drift to the left stick, and I just replaced the stick, and it cost like $15 for a stick. That's versus, paying for the whole thing. Wish I knew exactly why, but the man was definitely deranged. Glad you're one of the good ones. Thank you, Jonathan. When are you releasing the video about the person pretending to be you in your comments? There is a scammer who is pretending to be me, guys. You know those scams that you have you guys ever seen those scams that pop up in the comments? It popped up in my YouTube videos comments, like bots, but it's like all over the place. It happens to so many YouTubers where you'll see like some random, you'll be watching some YouTube video, right? You'll leave a comment, and then what will happen is some bot will reply to you, and that bot will be the name of the YouTuber that you watched, but it won't be that YouTuber. It won't be them, and it'll be like an account with the YouTuber's name, but it'll have 0 subscribers, and it'll say, hey, you want a giveaway? Message me on Telegram. Have you guys ever seen those comments? Because that happened on my videos, like, a few months ago. There was a guy, more like a month and a half ago, there was a guy who was posting, like, bot comments on my YouTube videos, and he was just pretending to be me, saying, oh, you won the professionals giveaway, message me on, Telegram and this stuff, and I made a Telegram account, and I started messaging the guy, and I just kept, wasting the guy's time, and I wasted the guy's time for 4 hours. For 4 hours, I managed to waste his time talking to me for 4 hours, and I'm gonna have the whole video up of just me, wasting this guy's time for 4 hours, but it will, I was talking a lot of nonsense, and I was wasting his time. And do you know what I'll tell you about the scammer? Is, this scammer was pretending to be me, and he told me that I won the professional giveaway, and I won like an iPhone 14 and a MacBook and everything like that. And he's like, send me your address, and send me your address and a picture of your face for the giveaway. And I told him that, my address is 27 Tranquility Lane in Chicago. Now, for people who don't know, Tranquility Lane is not a real place. Tranquility Lane is, a place in Fallout 3. It's like a really creepy place in Fallout 3, where there's like a simulation, and so it's not like an actual street, but I told him that, and he told me, congratulations, I will send like the prize to you. So I know he didn't look up the address location. And what happened is, afterwards he told me, he's like, you have to pay $200 in, pay PayPal to me for shipping, for me to ship like the MacBook and the iPhone to you. And that's how that scam basically works, is they charge you to a PayPal account. And what happened was, I kept telling the guy, oh, the PayPal account isn't working, it's not working. And what happened is, he sent me 3 different PayPal accounts, and I reported all 3 PayPal accounts. I reported all of them. And about this is, I'll tell you this, I also, this scammer that I was talking to, he was a lot smarter. He was a lot smarter than the other scammer that I dealt with. He was a lot smarter. Because what happened is, he would not get into a phone call with me. And when I told him, like, get into a phone call with me, like, he just would not want to get into a phone call with me. Like, he kept making excuses every time. I wasn't able to get him in a phone call. But I was just messaging him for 4 hours, just pissing him off. And what happened is, I kept sending him links, and he would not click on the links that I kept sending him. And I kept telling him, oh, here's my PayPal information in this link. And eventually how I got him, a few hours into the conversation, is I told the guy, like, my PayPal information is all in this link, please click on it. And eventually, finally, he clicked on the link. And basically what that link did is that link grabs his IP address. And so I tricked him into clicking on the link. I grabbed his IP address, and I found out that he was, oh, what happened? Kay left? I found out that this guy was actually in, what was the city's name? It wasn't Lagos, but he was in Nigeria too. So the other scammer I encountered was in Nigeria. This one was in Nigeria too. I don't remember the city's name. I think it was the capital of Nigeria. That's what it was. Let me look up. What's the capital of Nigeria? Abuja. That's it. Abuja. So that's what it had come up that he was in Abuja. And what happened is, eventually, what I did was, when he asked me for a picture of my face for the giveaway, do you know what I did? I sent him a picture of my actual face, like me. And it was a picture from my YouTube videos, too. So it was a picture of my face from a YouTube video. And when I sent him that picture, what he did was, he said, congratulations, you won the giveaway. And he was so stupid. He was pretending to be me for a fake giveaway scam. He was so stupid that he doesn't even remember what my face looks like. And so I sent him a picture of my face, and he's like, oh, you won the professionals giveaway. That's how stupid this guy was. Let's see here. Franklin's aunt's house? What? That's the address you should have given the scammer? Maybe I could do, like, GTA addresses in the future. I could actually do that. But I confronted the scammer, and I told the scammer, basically what happened was, a few hours into wasting the scammer's time, do you know what the scammer basically does? The scammer basically does, are you playing with me? And just says to me, like, why are you wasting my time? Why are you doing this? And, like, and the thing about this is, the scammers that do this several times, the scammers act like you're doing something wrong. Like, whenever people waste the scammer's time, the scammers always say, like, why are you playing with me? Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, they act like you're doing something wrong by they're acting like they're actually doing, like, an actual job. And what, after he said, like, why are you playing with me, at that point, I basically confronted him. And I told him, like, I know this whole thing is a scam. I know this whole thing is, like, a lie. And I know, like, that's my actual face as a professional. And what happened is, the scammer basically gives me, like, a sob story. And, he says to me, like, I tell him, like, would your parents be proud of what you're doing right now? That's what I said to the scammer. And the scammer's like, I don't have parents, I'm an orphan. And so I don't know if that's true or not, if he actually is an orphan or not. He's a scammer for all I know, so he could just be making the whole thing up. But basically, he starts giving me this sob story. He's like, I'm poor and I'm desperate. I don't have a lot of opportunity, and so I scam and do all this other stuff to make money. And I told him, there's actual honest ways to make money. You don't have to scam people. And then you know what he does? He starts telling me, can you help me stop scamming people? And I said to him, sure, I can help you stop scamming people. What do you want me to do? And he says to me, can you give me a donation so I can stop scamming people? And I was like, literally, seriously, dude? Like, that's what you're asking me for? Like, you literally spent like 4 hours here trying to scam me, and then you asked me for like a donation to help you stop scamming. That's like one of the stupidest things I told him I'm not giving him jack. That's basically I told him I'm not giving him anything. And then I told him, go and turn yourself into the police. Go do that. And what he did at that point is he says, what did he say to me? Oh yeah, he said to me that if I turn myself into the police, I'm gonna get arrested. And I said to him, yeah, you'll get arrested, but the police will give you a deal, and you're gonna get a lot less of a sentence than what the other people are. If you report the other people and you cooperate with the police, you're gonna get less of a sentence. Maybe the police will give you a job helping them to track down scammers, since you've done, you've scammed people in the past before. I don't know. That's that's what I told the guy. And eventually the guy said, I'm not gonna stop. And then he said to me, I'm gonna keep scamming you and your subscribers, just laughing at me. And at that point, I knew the guy wasn't, I knew the guy was all, full of BS, and I knew the guy was, like, the whole stop story, he was telling me how he's, like, poor and desperate, and he doesn't have opportunity. I knew that was, like, nonsense at that point. It was like, I didn't trust the guy. So I will have that video up in, like, I'll have that video up in, like, maybe a week or two. That video, you guys will see me of just me talking to that scammer. But that was, yeah. And the thing about this is, what I'll tell you guys about this is, so many people defend this crap, and they say, oh, these people are poor, and they're desperate, and stuff like that. There are plenty of people who are poor and desperate, but you know what? They don't go and scam people and steal from people. Because there's plenty of people who are poor and desperate, but they're honest people, and they're good people, and they don't scam and rip people off. And so that's one of the stupidest things that I heard. Basically, somebody saying, oh, I'm poor and desperate, and so I'm gonna scam and rob people. That's like, no. It's one of the dumbest things that I've heard. Okay, let's see here. Help Brandon out. Can you teach me how to earn money by sending me money? Yeah. Give a street from Purgatory, Algonquin. Well, thank you, Bunny. I might do, like, GTA addresses in the future when they ask me for my address, or scammers ask that. Pro, how would you deal with a scumbag boss? Well, it depends. It depends on the type of... It depends on the type of scumbag boss. Like what is the situation exactly, Doug? Like, Doug, are you still here? You don't have to super chat me again, but can you explain to me, like, what's the situation? Like, is the boss not paying you? Does the boss expect you to constantly work on days that you have off? Like, what are they doing that's specifically scumbag? And I'll give you, like, an answer on how to deal with somebody like that. You just gotta give me more of an example. What is he doing specifically that's scummy?
We on?
Okay, let's get over those boats. You know what? I'm gonna spawn a helicopter here. What, Kassir? Oh, my helicopter's ruined now here. Yeah, I would like to play Fallout 3 one day. Yeah, scammers don't care about their victims. What to do if a landlord kicks your door and rent is almost due? They can't kick your door. Because here's the thing. A landlord cannot just show up to the property and enter the property whenever they want. It depends on the state that they're in. They have to give specific notice. So, when my tenants, need me to do something for them, if my tenants need something done around the house, I'll tell them, like, this day, is it okay if I come in this day and, take care of this even if you're not home and stuff like that? And they'll tell me yes. So I tell them a few days in advance. So a tenant, a landlord cannot just come into the property whenever they want. They certainly can't kick the door in, because here's the thing. The landlord might be the owner, but as a tenant, you are the resident. You are the person that's living there. And so they can't just barge in like when they want. They can't do that. It's illegal. And so that's well, that's a squatter is not a tenant. A squatter is a criminal. That's on your property illegally. It was my first day on the job, and he would not help me learn the right way to do things. Then he would yell at me for not doing it the way he would do it. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, Doug. I encountered people just like this. You know, I had a supervisor, I'll tell you this, Doug, who basically the retail place that I worked at, there was a photo machine. And the photo machine would help, you know, customers edit their pictures, process them, stuff like that. And what happened is, I was not taught how to use the photo machine. I would ask them several times, can you help me, you know, can you teach me how to use the photo machine? And they would not teach me. They would say, I'm busy, I can't do it right now. One time, my supervisor, she gave me an attitude. I asked her, can you help teach me how to use the photo machine? She said, do you not see that I'm in the middle of something right now? That's what she said to me. She just gave me an attitude. And what happened is, you know, months went by, months and months, and this is maybe like half a year into the job, and what ends up happening is a customer, like, you know, a customer comes over and asks me for help with the photo machine. And I tell him, you know, sir, I'm sorry, I don't know how to use the photo machine, I will get a supervisor. And the supervisor, you know, my supervisor, she comes by, she's like, help him with the photo machine. And I told her, I don't know how to use the photo machine. And you know what she says to me? She says to me, you've been working here for months, and you don't know how to use the photo machine? What kind of an idiot are you? So that's what she said to me. And the thing about this is, at this time, I was 19 years old, so this is something that happened, you know, 10 years ago, when this incident happened. And at that time, I was not, I didn't know how to stand up for myself. I didn't know how to stand up for myself against the bullying from these supervisors. And so I didn't say anything. When she just yelled at me, she called me an idiot, I didn't say anything. But what I basically would have said now at this point is I would have said to her that I've asked you several times to teach me how to use the photo machine, and you haven't taught me it. This is your fault at this point. And so I cannot stand supervisors that do that. Like that, honestly, that's one of the things that pisses me off about retail. And this happens in so many retail places. Anybody that has worked in retail, like, let me know in the comments right now. Like, anybody who's worked in that type of environment, has it happened to you where it's your first day working, and the manager just doesn't want to show you everything. They don't teach you, they don't train you how to do everything, and then they get pissed off at you for not knowing how to do something when they didn't train you how to do it. Like that's literally what happened to me so many times in retail, and it got me so pissed off. Like, I'll tell you something about this, is I had to teach myself how to do returns. Like, when I worked in retail, nobody taught me how to do refunds. Nobody taught me how to do returns. I actually had to teach myself how to do that. Like, I would play around with the different buttons on the register, and I found out how to do a return. The return was under the more options button. I think that's what it was under. And then I would just I would hit the button whenever the person would, you know, give me the money back return. I would scan the item and just put the money in the register, and just give them the money back and take the item back. That's what it was. And so I had to teach myself how to do returns because nobody taught me how to do them. But that's what honestly pisses me off about retail places. They don't teach you how to do anything. They don't have time for it. And it's like I don't understand how you can possibly not train your employees. Hockey mask, brown suit, original cosplays. I could do that one day, Nick. Thank you for the super chat. Worked in retail, they do that all the time. They don't teach you, but expect you to know everything. Even if you don't do something wrong, it's your fault. Yeah. Hey, I'm not gonna get into the politics though, DJ. Do you know what honestly pissed me off about retail? What really pissed me off about retail, like, the first week that I started working retail, what really pissed me off about it is that, I had a supervisor with me that was maybe with me for like an hour or so on the register, and then what happened is that she just left me there. And so, I was the only cashier in the entire store, and this was a very large store, a very large one. And so, imagine that, you know, you're the only cashier in a pretty large store, and not only that, but you're new. It's your first day of work. They only train you for an hour how to use the cash register, and this is a store that gets literally, like, probably more than 1,000 people in a day buy stuff there. And so they left me there as the cashier for, like, after just training me for an hour, they left me there by myself. And what would happen is when I needed help with something, I would call the supervisors up. The supervisor would just get all pissed off at me for calling them up. And so that's what I'll say about it, is that that's what supervisors did you get along with more, men or women? I got along with both. There was good men and good women supervisors, and there was bad women and bad men supervisors. How I do well at GW? Need to make a few bucks. I'm unhappy. I'm a quit. GW? Well, what's GW? Can you explain to me what you mean right there? And thank you for the super chat.
I can't.
Has that happened to anybody else? Has that happened to anybody else where, you know, it's your first day of work and, like, you're working in retail and they barely train you and they just leave you there in the register and expect you to just hold down the entire front by yourself? Does that happen to anybody else? Okay, I'll see you, Professor. Oh, Goodwill. Oh, okay. I was barely trained for my cashier job at Burger King. Yeah, I know how you feel, Cole. Maybe I could look into it again, spinning. So you're working at what, a cashier in Goodwill? It's Ant? No, I've never worked at a restaurant.
I'm gonna find some.
Do you think labor unions are a good thing or a bad thing? I would say that in most situations labor unions are probably a good thing. And I'm a guy who supports, like, generally free market. I don't like the government intervening and stuff. But I also believe in contracts. And you sign a contract and the employer signs a contract with the union. And so they're obligated to follow the union's rules when they sign the contract with the union. So it depends on the situation. Like, I know some unions are unreasonable, but a lot of times you have more unreasonable managers, unreasonable bosses, than you do unreasonable unions, a lot of times. So that's what I will say about that. Like, for example, like, you know, when I worked in retail, we weren't allowed to have a union. We were forbidden from that, and we were completely rolled over by management. Management would completely roll over us. They would do stuff that, like, normally, like, a union would just, you know, say you can't do that.
Oh no!
Okay, I didn't work a register, but I was left alone the first day at the counter when I deal with customers, and the managers got mad when I couldn't help customers because I didn't know how to get their orders. Oh, I'm sorry that happened to you, Dark the Demon. That's ridiculous. Let's see here. Pro, you make me have more respect for retail workers as someone who has worked in finance almost 20 years. Well, thank you, Miles. It was on Judge Judy about kick the door. Well, that landlord definitely lost, I can tell you that. I haven't watched the case, but I know the landlord definitely lost. You can't kick somebody's door in. My first day was an accident. My boss wasn't there but apologized for messing up. I got trained though, but we all tend to joke a lot while on the clock. Well, you know, at least your boss apologized for it, Blinded Eagle. A lot of bosses won't. You know what I'll tell you guys, you know what I'll tell you guys about this, and I guess I'll help you, Pierston, right after this sale, too. Material handler, $15 an hour. Do you have, like, a yearly review coming up, Ant? Because you could try to negotiate on your yearly review, and you could tell your manager, like, you know, I've always, you know, been helpful, always done what you wanted. Like, can I have a raise? The biggest idiot in Battlefield Bad Company? Oh, the biggest idiot in Battlefield Bad Company 2 would be that guy, I forget the guy's name. The guy who basically betrays you to the Russians, like that guy, because he thought that the Russians wouldn't betray him, like he was stupid, like, I forget the guy's name. The guy in Bad Company 2, he betrays you to the Russians and then the Russians betray him. Forget the guy's name. That guy was probably the biggest idiot. Okay, Brandon, I'm gonna join PC's heist if you're okay with that. Brandon, are you fine with that? Is that okay? I see you have a lot of people in your MC. On my first day of work, I was left alone to run a whole pawn shop. My God, that's horrible. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. Wait, your name is Rick Harrison. What? But I don't know if you're being serious on the story or not. But yeah, management does that a lot. They leave workers to just run huge parts of the store by themselves a lot of times. It's not, I could possibly spinning, what I will say, I've mentioned this before, you need to, here's the thing about this, is you, in most retail places, you're not allowed to have a union. However, though, even though you're not allowed to have a union, though, what I will say about this is there are certain times, a lot of times, where these retail places will break the law, and you don't even realize that they're breaking the law. A lot of times, the workers who work there don't even realize that they're breaking the law, which you could get your retail places in a lot of trouble for. I've asked the chat this before, but let me ask the chat this again. Can anybody here tell me what is the most common law that retail stores break? It's an actual law. It's the most common law they break all the time. And a lot of times the workers don't even realize that they're breaking the law by doing this. Does anybody know what law most retail places break? And fast food places also break the exact same law. So it's fast food places and retail places. Breaks, exactly, break time. So that is what they do. I'm not going to get too much into that, Jack, but I do appreciate the super chat. What they do all the time is that these places that you work at, they won't let you go on break a lot of times. You are entitled to a break. So whenever you start working in any kind of retail place, if you're working in my country in America, make sure you look up what your state's labor laws are. Look up your state's labor laws exactly. Because every state has different laws on the breaks, but make sure you know what your law is exactly. Because they can't break the law. They can't do that to you. It's happened all the time, where when I used to work in retail, what they would do to me when I was working is I would be standing at the register for 5 hours. My shift would be 8 hours, and I would be standing at the register for 5 hours. My feet would be killing me. I'm tired. I want to have something to eat. I'm hungry, and I tell the manager, supervisor, can I please go on break? I've been standing here for 5 hours. And the manager and supervisor will say to me, oh, I thought you were doing the heist? I thought I was too, yeah. I thought I accepted the invite, but, Pierston, I guess I'll just join right after this then. But do you know what the manager would always do to me? The manager and the supervisor, they would always guilt trip me. That's what they would do. Has that happened to anybody else where they would guilt trip you? What they would do to me is they would say to me, oh, you can't go on break right now, Patrick. We have a lot of work to do. If you go on break right now, you're going to hold other people up. We're not going to be able to finish all our work before we close the store for now. You can go on break later. And then later never comes. It never comes. Has that happened to anybody else where you try to go on break and they guilt trip you and they basically tell you, you can't go on break right now, that it's, you're going to hold everyone back, we got a lot of work to do and such, and that's it. The guilt tripping is very common. I'm gonna join in just one moment, Pearson. Give me a second. I'm just gonna make these drops with the plane. I remember when I started a part-time job at a furniture store, warehouse. The boss told me that he'd move me to full-time in about 1 month. At 6 months there, he said part-time. I left as soon as possible. It's good that you left. Yes, I get that crap. It's very annoying. And I'll tell you guys, stand up for yourselves if that happens. Look up what your state's laws are and tell your boss, no. I have been working for 5 hours or however long it is. I am entitled to a break. And in certain states, depending on how much time you work, you might be entitled to a second break. For example, when I was working in New York, I remember that what I was entitled to is I was entitled to 1 30-minute break and 2 paid 15s if I was working a 9-hour shift. That's what the law was in New York. It was something like that. It was like 30-minute break and 2 15s. And what happened is my supervisors, my managers, never told me that I had 2 15s to take. I only knew that I had a 30-minute break, but they didn't tell me that I had 2 15s to take. And what happened is one of my coworkers, she actually told me that, you get 2 15s. They don't want you to know that. And I looked it up, and it turns out that she was right. I do get 2 15s. And then she says, watch this. They're not going to want me to take a 15 right now. And so she took her 30-minute break, and then like an hour or two passed, and she said, I want to go on my 15. And they're like, what? What do you mean you want to go on your 15? Like, they didn't want to tell her no directly, because they knew the law, but they were being very evasive, and they didn't want her to go on the 15, and it was clear to me. So that was, my stream is blurry. Is it blurry for anyone else? But that's, yeah, that's what I'll say about that, guys, is that these places, they don't want you a lot of times to go on break, and that's what's disgusting about a lot of these places. Don't let these places take advantage of you, because you are entitled to a break. I don't care if there's 1 million customers in the store. I don't care if they're short-handed. You are entitled to a break. It doesn't matter if they're short-handed. If they're short-handed, if the manager tells you we don't have enough people to cover a break, you know what you tell the manager? You tell the manager this: get more people, hire more people, because I'm entitled to a break. So that the manager can't do that to you. They can't just tell you, well, we don't have enough people, you can't go on break. Guess what? The managers get to go on break. The managers oftentimes, the managers will say to you, oh, I don't go on break. It's the managers have said that in my place. When I confronted the managers on that, they would say that, oh, I don't go on break, but the manager is sitting in the office most of the time. They're sitting down where you're standing up at the register. And when they're sitting down and doing their paperwork or whatever in the office, they get to eat. Where you don't get to eat at the register. If you get to eat at the register, that's a company violation. You can't eat at the register. And so that's ridiculous. So don't let them take advantage of you. You call them out on that. And if they don't comply with the labor laws, if you're entitled to a break and they don't let you go on break, what you do at that point is you get the labor board involved. Like there's probably like a state agency that you can contact. Like look up your state and look up like what the labor agency is. It's not about being a rat. It's not about being a snitch. It's about the fact that they're denying you from taking a break. They're not letting you take a break. They're taking advantage of you. And if they don't want to let you go on break and you warn them, you tell them, I want to go on break, and they're still not letting you go on break, you call up that labor agency, whatever it is, and you get them in trouble. That's what it was. Because that's the one thing that I regretted. The thing that I regretted in retail, one of the things that I regretted the most is that I never called up the labor board. I should have done that. I should have called the labor agency, whatever it was in New York, and I should have just said, these people are constantly not letting me go on break. These people are constantly guilt tripping me. Every time I try to go on break, they try to guilt trip me. And that's that was just getting ridiculous. They wouldn't let you go on break, and it was ridiculous. But has that happened to anybody else? You try to go on break and they guilt trip you and they say to you, well, you can't go on break, we don't have enough people, and and we're gonna be busy and all this other stuff, and so you can't just take your break. This is pretty much an excuse that they're using. What part of New York are you from? Brooklyn, New York. Let me see here. I missed a few comments. Hey, Pro, what's your advice to a person who has no confidence in standing up for himself? A person who can't say no on his job? The thing about that, Jonathan, is that's basically me. I was very, I had no confidence in myself. I didn't know how to stand up for myself, and people rolled all over me, took advantage of me. And then years later, when I got, more mature, I realized, why did I let people take advantage of me so much? Why did I let people do this stuff to me? So that's what I say is, just don't, think about this. I help these people all the time, and they're trying to roll all over me. That's, is the stream still blurry, guys? Is the stream blurry for anyone? I was threatened to be fired if I took my 15-minute break. That's illegal. They can't do that. No, it's fine for me? Okay, some people are saying it's blurry. I'm a cart pusher at Walmart for 7 months. Almost 8, and my supervisors, managers, coworkers, and customers are nice and respectful, so I'm thankful I didn't have to encounter what you did in retail. That's good. But here's the thing, Yorker, and this is what I'll tell you about this. Even if you have like a really good boss in retail and you have like really good coworkers, you're still going to encounter BS, and you're going to encounter BS in 2 other ways. And you know what the 2 other ways you're going to encounter BS? Customers, because no matter if you have the most nicest boss in the world, you're eventually going to encounter scumbag customers. And what you're going to do is you're going to also encounter nonsense from the company. So the company is always going to be scumbag. The company is always going to treat you like crap. Even if the managers are nice to you, the manager can only do so much. The company is still going to treat you like crap a lot of times. When I was working at laundry assistant, they only let me have a 20-minute break for morning tea and 30 minutes for my and 30 minutes for my lunch break. How long were you working for, Aussie guy? HR does work for the company, not for you. Yep, that's a good piece of advice right there. One moment here, Pearson. I'm gonna join your heist. Yeah, I know what you mean. They'll try to find ways to get rid of you. Yeah, I know.
I tried all that diet mess, and I prefer stuffing my face with up and atom whenever I please.
Just waiting for the final drop to be
I'm
made.
taking my daily walk right now. Now you best be here in 30 minutes to pick me up.
Okay, Brandon. Let's see here. Okay, they're almost there. Anyone here have Verizon or T-Mobile internet? At my grandma's house, I'm there for right now. We have AT&T, and we're considering to change because it's so bad. I've never used AT&T, so I don't know. I have, yeah. I've used Verizon for like a long time. When I was in New York, I've used Verizon, but here in the Midwest, I use a different company. It's a local company, but it's actually pretty good. It gives me gig speed internet. Wait, what? HYS? 1 year and 2 months? No, but like, I mean, how long is your shift though, Aussie guy? Like the shift that you're working that day? Okay. Let me join Pearson's heist here now. Okay, let's do it then. Pro, you make me have more respect for retail workers as someone who has worked in finance for almost 20 years. Well, thank you, Miles. Let's see, Zach made a comment. TV store called Superstore that depicts this very well. TV show called Superstore. I should look into it. I have a great boss and great coworkers. Nothing bad. Has nothing yet. I guess you were dealt a bad hand in retail. My experience is amazing so far. Well, hopefully it stays good for you, though. Never rain, and I'm 1 second here. One moment here on the stream.
Okay, we're going into
I'm also you know, hiding this this comment. You can't you can't put you know, you can't make comments like that, Rain. I don't know what you're thinking.
Okay, softly approach. With the only crew I know who can speak so little and still make so much noise. But here's hoping. The key to this whole job is to forget we're attempting a career.
I mean, come.
Heist and stay
Why would you post something like that, man?
Are you calm? Good, because I'm calm. What's not to be calm about? If you screw up and they see you, we're just gonna do this the old-fashioned way.
Okay, there we go. Just because, look, here's the thing about this is, just because you super chat me doesn't mean I'm not gonna time you out. If you're posting something really stupid, something offensive, I'm gonna time you out. It doesn't matter to me whether you super chat or not. And so you can't do that. My job description says that I have to do stalker work at my grocery store, even though I applied as a cashier. I know they're not going to pay me more for doing stalker work. What do you think? My job description says I have to do stalker work, even though I applied as a cashier. If your job description says that you have to stalk Randy, then that's what you have to do. However, though, if your job description tells you that you don't have, if your job description does not include cashier, then you don't have to do cashier. If they try to make you, just tell them it's not part of my job description. If it is, if you want me to do cashier, you gotta pay me more. That's what you do then, Randy. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you, Landon, also.
Up ahead. You'll need to find the fuse box on the side of the unit, take it out with a stun gun, and get through before it recovers. That's it. Shorted. Quickly, get through.
Well, this is a weird combination of guns to have.
The stun gun should disable the camera for a while. Or go old school and time your run. Perfect. Never saw you coming. Open sesame.
Stay in there, Pierston.
Hey,
hold the door open, hold on.
Today's takings are stored near where you are. It's up to you, but might be worth a detour. It's a two-room system. One of you needs to hold the access button in the security room, the other runs through and grabs the cash. Heads up, CCTV ahead. The stun gun should disable the camera for a while. Or go old school and time your run. The cash is on the cart. Don't get distracted. This is just a starter.
Okay, we got the good amount here. Okay, let's see here. Hey Pro, from the UK, have you ever played The Getaway on PS2? I'd highly recommend playing it. There's also reference to characters in Vice City. Yeah, I will consider playing it. I played one of the Getaway games. I played one of the Getaway games. I have one of it on PS2. I don't remember which Getaway game it is that I played. I beat it, I remember. When I was a kid, I beat it. But in the Getaway game that I played, it was a game where you played as, like, this guy in, like, a bar, and there was, like, a gym, and then there was, like, this cop that you played as, like, a tactical cop. He's, like, a SWAT guy. Yeah, that's what it was about the Getaway. Go back. Hey, good work.
He's not ringing the alarm.
I'm gonna do it. I'm sorry, Mr. Green. I've just been so busy with so many things.
See that security checkpoint? The man trap is just beyond it. That's your man trap, so pay attention. You'll have to swipe both vault key cards simultaneously in separate control panels. That unlocks the system, but even then, we can't open both the inner and the outer doors simultaneously.
Okay, here we go.
Everyone needs
do it.
to get inside so we can close the first door and then open the second.
Just do it.
We need one person with a vault key card at each terminal. Let's go. Get everyone inside the man trap now. I can keep the first door open until you're set.
how do you check rude people who are rude to you? What do you mean check rude people? What do you mean by that, suspect? Can you explain?
Looks like the guard at the vault room isn't there. Happy days. I know this is a special moment for you down there, but trust me, it's about to get a lot more special on the other side of that door. Break out the laser drill, let's do this! The lock mechanism should melt like butter. You just need to target the weak points. Don't rush.
Oh, well, sure, Zach. Yeah, I guess that was it. Yeah, I forget that I remember it in Bad Company, too. I remember that now, yeah.
Okay, disc 1 is done here. There's disc 2. Come on, keep it steady, but you've got to move quicker than this. And number 3. Okay, right side's all done.
Okay, wait, what's wrong, Scarface? Why was my Big Smoke account hidden, though? Wait, what? What happened, though? Hang on. Go get everything on the left, on the right, Pearson. I'm gonna get everything on the left.
The art will need to be cut out of its frames. Shouldn't affect the value much. Go! Good news. Seeing as we stayed under the radar, we have a little more time here. Now, your hacker can block the security sensors while you're in the vault, but only for a while. If the system goes quiet for too long, it triggers the alarm as a failsafe. And, did I mention that if the
thank you for subscribing, Rendar.
flood the place with nerve agent? No? Okay, well, I'm mentioning it now. There's a set of
Okay, we should be able to get actually everything in
Drill if
here.
you've got the time, but I can't promise you there'll be anything good inside.
Oh, well, I would, you know, I don't really have a toleration for rude people, honestly. Okay, let's see here. Did you say anything bad, Big Smoke? Be honest, did you say anything bad? In your opinion, did Rockstar ruin the Kaio heist? I noticed nobody else really asked you to join their Kaio heist on stream. I get that as you do it solo still, but yeah, yeah, nobody wants to do Kaio anymore. Like everybody, whenever they ask me for help with a heist, it's always casino heist. So I'm willing to help people with Kaios. But it's just, yeah, it's just yeah, it's just that. In your opinion, yeah, so thank you, Eric. Well, who timed you out? Who banned you, Big Smoke? Who do you? And I'll talk to the moderator and I'll ask them why. But if you did something bad, then that's up to the moderator's discretion. Okay, wasn't you, Fernando? Okay, well. When did this happen, Big Smoke? Let me see here. Okay. Okay, 15 seconds, let's go. He was starting arguments? Okay.
40 seconds. Before the failsafe
okay, let's go
alarm, so
here.
make the most of it.
Okay. I'll look, Big Smoke, I'll look into it, okay? I will, but...
Undetected. Who would have thought it?
Okay, do it, Pearson.
We cleaned him out. Okay,
Okay.
let's see if we can make the way
Here we go,
out
let's get out.
smooth as the way in.
Okay, good work.
Get your key cards ready.
No, I'm not into something like beards.
You really cleaned up down there, you know? They're not gonna know what hit them. Except for the insurance bill.
I haven't had this happen in a long time.
The hardest achievement on the console of life. And we are dark. Goggles on, everyone. Looks like they don't suspect a thing. So let's make the most of it.
You looking for...
What the? He take a?
Good down there. This is gonna be a nice little...
I don't know how he takes like a 12 gauge like that at point blank like that and just. Okay, let's keep going. The power's gonna come out in a little bit.
Listen up, we have bad news and good news. The bad news is they did a spot check on the vault, so they know it's been robbed. The good news is they have no idea who or how. The cops are on their way, but you can still make it out undetected if you do exactly what I say. If you're caught now, the shit really hits the fan. The backup generators will be online in a few seconds. Get out of sight. The side doors are back through the staff entrance. You're almost there. All right,
get out.
The generators. You better have your heads
Scarface,
down.
are you still here by any chance? Why did you kill the guy in the room before entering the man trap? Because there's a glitch sometimes where if you don't kill everybody down there, you'll get the alarm will go off. Okay. Camera doesn't seem first person on the stairs. I didn't know that.
The bulk of the cops this way. The only thing that matters is making it to your ride. Remember, they know the vault's been hit, but they don't know who you are or where you are. They have patrols sweeping the whole place, and all the civilians have been evacuated. So if they see you,
damn.
know it's you.
Okay,
so
go.
Stay out of their way, keep your cool, and get to the buyer. The driver has the getaway car in position. I've pinged you the GPS. Get to the buyer, don't bring the cops, and we're home free.
Great. Okay. Run across. When did this happen, Scarface? How you doing? I'm doing good, man. How are you?
All right, our decoy is online. The cops are confused as hell. Don't get seen near him, or the cops will figure out what we're doing. I pinged your GPS with his tracker.
Come on. It's okay. You think I went too far with my scammer? Well, what did you do again, Suspect 13? Can you remind me?
Just got word from the decoy. We don't have long before they have to tap out. Make the most of it.
The decoy is very helpful at times, yes. Crap. Make a... Go back, there's cops up there.
Decoy is out. You're on your own now.
Back up. Go left. Go right. Go in the hills.
If the buyer
There we go, lost him.
switches a siren, this whole thing goes up in smoke. Lose the cops. What a night. Oh, excuse me while I take a moment to bask in the glow of my
I'll just look in just
genius.
1 second here.
Feel free to join me. This was the high point of a career full of nothing but high points. Lester Crest is back, baby. Looks like the house doesn't always win after all.
hear you. Okay, here we go. Hey man, Saints Row Reboot is now a discount on Steam, about 9 to 10 bucks. Actually, enjoy it while playing. To be honest, not a bad game, just disappointed. There were some parts of the Saints Row Reboot, like some of the activities that were good, boring, but overall the story was just not good. And let me look Blinded Eagle. What's so bad about Take-Two is that NBA 2K is great offline, but Strauss is going to push the devs to make online more expensive on top of everything with GT Online. They're going to require online to play even when you're playing single player. Thank you for the super chat. And yes, Eric, I do feel like Rockstar kind of did ruin the heist. Cayo Perico. Scarface, you still here? Okay. 2.6 miles. Here we go. Did he do that opened? Oh, okay, how'd they ruin the Cayo Perico heist? The AI just seeing the bodies. So I think they did on that bad. We got there, we did it on our first attempt, good work. Where do you see yourself in the 50s? Probably owning multiple rental properties, like having a massive rental business. At level 770 and 1400, still can't take a helicopter 5 years later and still not learn the meta. I guess GTA 6 is going to be funny to watch. Keegan, I am very well aware of the helicopter strategy. I know exactly where it is. You have to climb up on that rooftop with those vents and everything like that. But did you ever think about the reason why I don't take the helicopter? Because you're just thinking meta. I think about what's more fun. I personally think it's more fun trying to lose the cops and getting there as quick as possible and taking the helicopter. You take the helicopter every single time. It's boring. I'm very well aware of the helicopter strategy, but I find it boring. So that's why I try to lose the cops with cars, because at least it's more challenging to lose the cops by car. And I lost the cops in my first attempt without getting detected. So I think, which movie do you prefer, Good Burger or Fat Albert? Also, keep up the good work. I've seen Fat Albert, but I don't know the Good Burger one. That one I don't know, Irma. I remember Fat Albert when that was popular. Thank you for the super chat. Honestly, the way society has gone, because society has gotten so politically correct and people get offended at everything, I think that if you made Fat Albert today, I think people would think that's offensive just by the title. That's even though it wasn't offensive at the time, it was. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I had to do that because of copyright. I was referring to Hager from Battlefield Bad Company. Single-handedly invaded a neutral country. Yeah, I forgot about that. I know what you're talking about. Let me see here.
I think Space Monkey 3 is art, you know? Like modern art.
Opened, are you still here? Okay. What guard do you use to cut your hair? I have like this specific razor that I use, like electric razor, that I just use for that. I think it's number 3 on it. What's your opinion on Miles Edgeworth? Oh, he's a pretty interesting character. Well, what happened between you and Scarface opened? Fire Arcade, thank you. I always did want to consider owning an arcade one day, maybe. Do I have a PC? Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm playing through the PC directly, even though I'm playing PlayStation. I'm playing through my computer screen. Thank you, Lo, for the super chat. Have I gotten most of the awards? A lot of them, yeah. I haven't gotten all of them, but a lot of them I have. The tier challenges, I haven't really been doing them. I haven't really been going for that. Is Miles Edgeworth evil? No, no. Miles Edgeworth is just, I would say, troubled. He's not evil. No, not at all. You know who's evil? Von Karma. He's evil. Oh, hey, Mario. Is Agent Milton just doing his job to a degree? But it's how he does his job. It's, Milton seems to enjoy doing what he does. And he's also working for Cornwall, which is a massive scumbag. Oh yeah, Dahlia, she was definitely evil in Ace Attorney. She's one of the most evil characters. Would I be willing to help PC players? Maybe one day. Maybe when GTA 6 comes out, I'll help PC players, but not right now on GTA Online because it's just the modders are just so out of control on PC.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, Agent Milton is not a good person.
Good to see you.
Possibly CW games, but he realizes what he's doing is wrong. I would say probably the Skinner brothers are probably scarier. Well, what I will say is, Opened, do you accept Scarface's apology? And proof why private police is scary, yes. Police should never be privatized. Agent Milton, the guy from Red Dead Redemption 2. Pro, when is it okay to ask for a raise? When you've been working for a manager for how many months and you're doing a really good job and your performance is, you know, through the roof. If you're doing a really good job, ask your manager for a raise. And if he tells you that, you know, he refuses to give you a raise, just follow your job description. Don't do anything, don't go above and beyond. I'm not saying to be lazy, but only follow your job description if your manager, doesn't give you a raise.
Hey.
Okay, well, I guess I'll leave it to Fernando to decide what happens there. Because I'm oftentimes not good at handling arguments between people. Scarface, are you here too? Okay, we'll have to study 7 years. I decided to be a doctor. Well, I hope it works out for you, fact speaker. Mr. K's video is going to come out in a few days. This week. Why was Norman D killed by his own men in Red Dead Redemption 1 for getting caught? Okay, well, I'm sorry he did that to you, Opened. You know, Well, I'm gonna leave it up to Fernando to decide what to do there. Scarface and Opened. And Opened, are you good now? Is everything fine? I sent you a message last time PSN. I'll be going now. Okay, I'll take a look at it. Thank you, Phoenix. What was your initial reaction to playing Vice City for the first time? Oh, is everything fine? Opened? How long will the Mr. K video be? Probably at least half an hour. I don't think Von Karma's Makarov's version of evil, but he's definitely evil. Alright, Fernando. Okay, Fernando. Well, I want to make sure that Opened is okay with his apology first. Here. Okay, here. Okay, but everything's okay, Opened. I just want to make sure that you're okay with everything. Everything's fine, man. Though. Did you hear about what happened in Jacksonville? I did. It's horrible. Did Mr. K deserve to be tortured? No, he didn't. He was innocent. Is Mr. K a victim? Oh yeah, definitely he is. Yeah. Is the Mr. K mission based on real life? It's based on real events, which I'll talk about in my Mr. K lore video. What's the next SOCOM video? Later tonight or tomorrow? Everything's okay now, Pro. When's the next member stream? I will, it is on, I'm gonna announce it. I don't know what day, but it'll be in a few days. I'll make a post about it. But Open, tell me, what is your PSN? Could I just ask you, what is your PSN? Do you have one? No, I don't really use Discord much. Do you have a favorite aircraft? Maybe the Savage helicopter, the Mi-24 Hind is a favorite helicopter of mine. Pro, you need to make a Discord server. Maybe one day. I had a Discord server some time ago. but I just didn't have time for it. And you're on what? Open? You're on Patreon? Because you said member stream. What's your Vice City question, Jorge? Let me see here. I'm sorry if I missed your question, Jorge. Let me look here. My initial reaction to playing GTA Vice City for the first time since it was your first GTA, were you amazed by the freedom in the game, such as driving, exploring? Yeah, and I thought that Vice City was like I thought that, you know, Vice City was massive. It was large, which at the time it was. Okay, what's the Mr. K video about? It's about the character of Mr. K. Let me see here. I'm gonna wrap up the stream here in a moment. No problem, Jorge. When will GTA 6 come out? Probably late 2024, early 2025. Okay, I'll see you. Take care, worst GTA player. Oh, it is fact. I'm sorry that's happening. It says failed every time. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll look into it later and see if I can do anything about that. Oh, okay. Which name are you on there opened? And yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everything was okay opened. When's the next Red Dead Redemption 1 video? Later today. Oh, I think I see you. You're Mr. D, right? Okay, I see you on there. If I'm selling 3 vehicles or products solo, does everyone in the lobby see the ones I leave unattended if I haven't driven them yet? Yes, they will see that, Electric. So if you have 4 vehicles, right, and you get into one, the other ones are going to appear on the map, so other players will see them. Yes, they will. No, I don't smoke. Well, I'll talk about that. The reason that Trevor couldn't drop Mr. K off at his house, is because if Trevor dropped Mr. K off at his house, Steve Haynes and Dave Norton would have killed him. That's why. That's why Trevor didn't drop him off at his house. That's why he dropped him off at the airport, because he told him he has to leave. So that's why. So Trevor was actually saving Mr. K. The worst game I ever played was probably Brink. Kieran probably had a more brutal death. Oh, thank you, Greek Mercenary. Thank you for the super chat. Thanks, man. Do you consider Dave Norton to be evil? He's definitely not a good person, but he's less worse than Steve Haynes. Steve Haynes is the worst one. Yeah, that's why Trevor couldn't drop Mr. K off at his house. But I guess Agent Sands, is he a good guy? Not really, because he's just working with another agency. But I guess we'll be going here, guys. Thank you guys for watching the stream. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the stream. If you did, do drop a like, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and I will have probably a Red Dead part for you later tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Take care, everyone.